Hello, everyone, and welcome to the thru Recovery Life Podcast. Today we have Mr. Jeremy S. in Indiana sharing his experience, strength, and hope with us. And he's going to tell us what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. So without further ado, I give you Mr. Jeremy. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Thank you, John. I'm Jeremy. I'm an alcoholic. I'm from Indiana. There's nothing special about growing up in Indiana that makes you not alcoholic, because I've gone to many different states and I've been alcoholic in all these states, whether it's Arizona or Florida or Illinois. A little background: I drank for 25 years, so I'm a real alcoholic. I started in high school like a lot of people. I was actually never going to drink. That was my deal. I was never going to drink because one of my neighbors was a bad drinker, and he's only a couple years older than us, and he got really bad into drugs. And I was real good friends with his younger brother. And watching what happened to him from drinking and drugging convinced me I was never going to drink. I was never going to do anything like that in my entire life. And I went to a high school, and I was so nervous. I was so excited to go to a high school party. I thought it'd be the best time of my life. And once I got there, it was the most nerve-wracking experience I've ever had. The idea that I'm going to talk to people and be sociable and make friends and maybe talk to girls. And someone offered me a beer, and all that I'm never going to drink and never do anything like that. It completely went out the window because I want to be like this person. So yeah, of course I'll have a beer. And I remembered how awful it tasted. I couldn't believe I drank. And what happens is I got through the first beer somehow, just completely hating the taste of it. But somewhere in the middle of the second beer, it just turned to water. It just started, it was like I could just turn up the whole can and just drink it like it was nobody's business. And it tasted like I was drinking water. And that experience has never left me. I remember waking up on like an early Sunday morning, going to watch a Bears game and thinking, there's no way I can drink. I'm so hungover from the night before. And somewhere in the middle of that first or second beer, it just turns to water and drinking becomes just so easy for me. And then I don't stop until I'm passed out hugging a toilet. And that was my drinking experience for about 25 years. I always knew once I started, I was not going to stop drinking for the day. So I wasn't afraid to wait till, the end of the night or after work or whatever. I decided it was okay to cut loose, because once I started drinking, I was not going to stop until I was passed out, puking, or sleeping in a bathroom once again. It's one of the reasons I definitely enjoyed being alone and wanted to be alone by the end of the night, because I didn't want other people to see me like that. And I knew that's how I ended most every single night. So back to that first high school party where I was drinking at, like I said, that second beer, it just turned to water, and I was having a good time. And I'm the life of the party. I'm drinking, I'm talking to people, we're being funny, I'm having a great time. Then out of nowhere, I could not control it anymore, and all of a sudden I had to throw up, and I threw up all over. I projectile vomit something bright green, and it shot out halfway across the room. Luckily, it didn't get anybody, but I went from having a good time to throwing up to being passed out in somebody's backyard with people standing around making fun of me. And you would think after that experience, I would never want to drink again. But I can tell you, I was so excited about the next time I was going to drink. A friend had asked me to help write his high school paper for him for some class, which basically I was going to do the whole thing for him and just get paid to do it. And I convinced people I had to go to my grandmother's house because she had a good typewriter. This is before computers. She had a good word processor, we called them back then. And the truth of the matter was, she had a bar down in her basement that I was gonna drink off of while I wrote this kid's paper. And I wrote this kid's paper, and I thought it was really good. And I ended up getting so drunk, I ended up throwing up in her toilet and sleeping in the bathroom. And the kid got an F on the paper. I remember reading it back one day. It was like, this paper is awful. I can't believe I thought this was like really good at the time too. So that experience went on for 25 years. Um, I didn't get in trouble every time I drank, as many people would tell you, but normally if I got in trouble, there was drinking involved in it. Whether it be I got arrested for shoplifting, or I got arrested for minor consumption, or one time these kids were making a bunch of noise in the morning, and I drove my car into the shed that they would play in, so I would knocked over the shed so they couldn't play there in the morning and keep me awake because I was working the night shift at this place, and I got arrested for that. And over and over, drinking, just I made awful decisions while I was drinking. And what happened to me was I had met a girl. Uh, she eventually became my wife, and she got a good taste of what it was like to see me drinking. And for the first time in a long time, someone saw what it was like for me at the end of the night. And I was very embarrassed of it. I didn't like someone knowing that I was that bad. We had gone to a Super Bowl party, which was right before my birthday, and I remembered up to about halftime of the Super Bowl. From then on, I have no recollection. People told me we watched the rest of the game. We even went out to other bars that night. People told me I drove. I was the one driving us around. And I have no recollection of this at all. I woke up the next morning, and my girlfriend, future wife, was there in bed with me. And I go, oh, look who drank too much and had to call off of work. And she said, you have no idea what happened last night, do you? I was like, yeah, we went to a party. We had a good time. We came home. She goes, oh, that's not all what happened. You ended up so drunk. You were in a blackout and were laying on the kitchen floor crying, claiming you were going to hurt yourself, or you were going to try to leave in the middle of the night and move out. And she stayed up all night, keeping me from hurting myself and keeping me from leaving the house and dealing with me. And I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to ever make someone repeat that experience again. So I went on drinking for another 3 weeks, thinking I was going to control it and I was going to be okay this time. And 3 weeks later, I was still drinking and very broke. And a friend called and she said she would take me out drinking and pay for my drinks, but she wasn't going to take my girlfriend out drinking. And my girlfriend would have to pay for herself. And since we were totally broke, I told her she has to stay home. And I'll see her when I get home because Jen's only got enough money to pay for one of us to go out drinking tonight. At a bar number 4 or 5, I was really drunk and I'm driving, even though I was told I wasn't going to have to drive that night. That's why I could get that drunk. There I am driving because Jen had gotten too drunk to drive. And I was just sure I was going to get a DUI. And I said to God, please, if you just get me home, I just said, please, God, help. And it was like this flash came into my head immediately that you need to go to AA tomorrow. That if you want to be done with drinking, you want to get your life straightened, you need to not go to another bar right now. You need to go home and you need to go to AA tomorrow. So my girlfriend was very surprised when I came home and told her that I was going to AA tomorrow. And the next day I found out that there literally was a meeting. I called the central service office by my house, and there's literally a meeting 4 blocks from where I lived. I couldn't believe it. The central service office was 4 blocks from my house, and they had a meeting at noon that day. So I wanted to come down, which works out really good because I slept until 11 o'clock. By that point in my life anyways, I always slept till 11 o'clock. I was actually getting up early. And so I called my friend Jen, who was with me the night before. I said, you've got a drinking problem, but I'm going to take you to AA tomorrow to help you out. Or so come pick me up today, I mean. And she comes and picks me up, and we drive over to the office. and it looks like an insurance salesman office to me. I said to myself, there's no way I can go in there. I'm not going to walk into this insurance office and that's where the AA meeting is. And my friend Jen goes, oh, there's a bar right down the road. Let's just go to the bar. I know the bartender and we can start drinking. And I was like, that sounds like a much better idea than going to AA today. So we turned the car around and started driving away. And it was this overpowering feeling of like, if you leave now, you're going to miss out on the most important thing in your life. You need to go in there and talk to those people. You need to be done with drinking. So I circled the parking lot and reparked the car, walked all the way up to the door, and it still looks like an insurance salesman office. And then I ran back to the car and got in the car because I couldn't go in there. And I was about to leave again when that voice in my head says, you need to go in there. And parked the car, got out, walked up to the door, and I'm standing at the door trying to decide if I'm supposed to go in or not. And this lady comes walking up behind me and she goes, are you here for the AA meeting? And I go, oh, I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. And she literally says to me, if you're thinking that hard about it, you need to get your butt in there. Because she knows, like the rest of us, that normal people don't ever wonder if they're alcoholic. Normal people don't ever wonder if they need to go to AA to solve their life's problems. Alcoholics think they might be alcoholics. Alcoholics like me think they need to go to AA to solve their problems, because we do. At least I did. So I went into that meeting. It was my first time at an AA meeting, and they went around the room, and in the end, they do first steps if it's your first time at an AA meeting, and everybody in the room tells their story of what it was like, what it's like now, and what happened to them, and how they got to AA, and what has happened since they went to AA. Just shares their experience, strength, and hope. And as they went around the room, everybody telling their story, they were telling my story. It was me to a T. Everything they said about wanting to stop, thinking you had stopped, trying to control it, and finding yourself drinking worse than ever over and over and repeating this cycle over and over was me. It was 100% what had been going on with me, and I knew instantly that I needed to, A, stop drinking, B, I could not do it on my own, and they could show me how to do that, because there was people in this meeting with anywhere from a couple of weeks of sobriety to a couple of years of sobriety to a couple of decades of sobriety. And around that room, they all assured me that if I came to AA and I worked this program, that I would never find it necessary to pick up a drink since. That was on February 24th of 2014. And I wholeheartedly agree with that statement, that since that day, since I've continued to go to AA meetings, continue to work with others and try to give up myself and be of service to AA and the people about me, I work really hard at staying spiritually fit. I've never found it necessary to pick up a drink. Things have not always gone great. That girl that I was in love with and was dating and eventually married and went through the whole thing of getting sober with, we got a divorce, and I didn't drink over it. We've had two amazing little kids together, and I didn't drink over it. I had a couple of really powerful when I was about 4 or 5 months sober at the time, and I was having a really long weekend. I'm also a guitar player who works at 4 or 5 bars a week, and I'm at a bar on Sunday working, and I was just tired, and I was hungry, and I was become angry and disenchanted and irritable, restless, and discontented is what I had become. And I was ready to have Jaeger bombs and to get drunk and to be done with all this sobriety business, because it just wasn't for me. And I went outside to the bar to pray and drinking. And I literally said, God, help me. I don't want to drink. I just want to get through this experience, go in there and finish my day off and go home. And it was a cloudy day at the time, and what literally happened was, like, the clouds parted, and this this ray of sun comes shining down on an ice cream stand across the street, and I knew immediately I should go across the street to the ice cream stand, have a milkshake. And I did. And it was like my whole day turned around. I had a milkshake and I felt better. And it was like all of a sudden I went from I have to be here for 2 more hours and I want to get drunk to I only have to be here for another 2 hours. And then I can go home and I can call my sponsor and things are going to be fine. I don't know what I was all worked up about, but I've learned that if I let myself become too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, that my mind goes to let's get drunk. That will solve this problem because I don't really have a drinking problem. I have a thinking problem. I think that the solution to all my problems is alcohol, and it's not. So I had to learn other ways of solving my problems. I have to learn to have patience, tolerance, forgiveness, loving, and understanding. And the more I try to apply those to my problems, the less drinking seems like the solution to my problem. The other real powerful experience I had in sobriety was when my daughter Ivy was born. Um, we went in the hospital early on a Monday morning because the doctor said that they were going to induce labor and we were going to have the baby on Monday morning. We were there for 24 hours, and come Tuesday morning, little Ivy had still not joined us. She was still in her mother's womb, and the doctor came in the room, and I could immediately tell that the doctor was very worried from the look on her face. And she turns and she says to us, "We need to get her out of there right now. So you guys have 5 minutes and get that baby out of there right now." And me and my wife and her mother all held hands and we said a prayer and asked God to please bless us and help us. And 5 minutes later, everybody came rushing in the room and rushed us into surgery. And they did a C-section. And 5 minutes later, there I am holding the most beautiful baby in the world. And I said to the doctor, I said, what do I do now? They go, "Start taking pictures, Dad. You've got a beautiful daughter." Later that night, she fell asleep, and I sent her to the nursery, and I went downstairs to my car to have a cigarette. And I'm sitting there in my car having a cigarette, looking at the bar across the street, saying, "I got gypped. I just had a baby, and I can't go have a shot at this bar." And there I am arguing with myself how much I deserve to go have a shot with a bunch of strangers rather than go upstairs and be with my wife and my daughter. And I prayed to God, and He entered my heart. See, you are an alcoholic. You go to this weird extreme where you think it's your job to go get drunk, or you're entitled to go get drunk with strangers, but that's what you want, rather than to go be a responsible adult and go take care of your family. So I learned a very valuable lesson that day, and I went upstairs, and all that slipped away once I saw my wife and my daughter and held her. And I know that that is what God has chosen for me to do, is to pour all my love and everything I have into my family. So I continue to do that, and it is what has carried me through the recent marital breakup that I've had, and me and my kids have just really just bonded in an amazing way. And being of service to those about me is not just a theory; it's a real thing. This spiritual life is not just a theory. God showed me what happens when people who are alcoholic like me stop going to meetings and stop working this program, and the crazy extremes that we will go to, and how we're lucky if we don't start drinking, but we will definitely mess up really important things in our life. I still go to anywhere from 4 or 5 meetings a week, whether it be online or in person. I chair a big book meeting because I need that commitment. That commitment helps me stay grounded, helps me stay connected to this program. COVID was a weird blessing in disguise for me because I got introduced to online meetings and Zoom meetings, and I just really took to them, and I met a great community. I love the people I met down in Florida and all over the country and all over the world on these Zoom meetings. I love that it's allowed me to share that other people that I'm even local with, I tell them to get on Zoom meetings, and they have no idea how to do it. But if they're like me and they have a busy life, whether it be working or taking care of the kids, the convenience of getting on a Zoom meeting is irreplaceable. So that's my story. I haven't had a drink in over 8 years. Sobriety has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. My life went from zero to hero. Everything, is just like 100% different. And so if you're him-hawing about it, you need to get your butt in there, because if you're thinking that hard about it, then you're probably an alcoholic and we're the help that you need. So thanks, John, for asking me to tell my story. With that, I'll pass.
Hey, Jeremy, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. How long have we known each other now? For a year and a half?
At least it's a year and a half,
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
2 years. Yeah.
almost 2 years. Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm glad to be part of your recovery. How many years do you have now?
8.5.
Fantastic. So December is your 9 years?
Yeah.
January?
Well, February 24th of 2014 was my sober date.
Fantastic. You're a great example. Yeah, you don't have to drink no matter what. I went through a divorce and I didn't have to drink. You went through one. You didn't have to drink. Don't have to drink no matter what.
Amen to that.
All right, Jeremy, thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.